Good start. Howdy, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Today we're going to be adding in the little guy that you've seen in the thumbnail. Let me pull him up right quick. He is this little guy right here. We've been talking about him for a while. We drew him in a stream some time ago, and so today we're going to finally get around to adding him. I've been working behind the scenes, improving enemy AI and stuff like that, and some other map loading and stuff. So the enemy AI has gone through like quite some time ago, like months ago probably. We're not doing art today. We'll probably do art soon because I do want to go back to an art stream soon. But I want to get this guy in going. But the AI has gone through massive overhaul. So if I run this right quick, like these skeletons, they no longer just walk up to you and stand there. Now they actually like dance around you. They strafe around. They there's a little more interest to them. They try to avoid you. The fox avoids the skeletons. It's a lot more dynamic. The enemy looks scary. He's going to look even scarier when implemented. I'll get to that in a second. So yeah, enemy. I'm very happy with the enemy AI. The movement code and everything has been changed around a lot, and so we're going to be using that movement code in today for this enemy. This fox is still a little weird. I'm still working on that, but yeah. And ignore that area there. That was a bit of a chunk corruption. So yes, that's what we have, and even the sprout has some new movement as well. So everything's a lot more dynamic. Now they are kind of circling, still working on some things, but I am very happy with this. So yeah, so we'll be getting into that. I've actually added in the little hover thing for all items. That one, it looks a little more uniform in that one. That's a coincidence. There is randomness to it, and I've been working on some map stuff here, so it's gonna give me nightmares. I mean, with my idea for what we're gonna do with the enemy, probably more so than the other one. I mean, it depends on what your nightmares are, though, because it's not gonna be as sad, like for the idea that I have, like it's a dual type thing. But yeah, I can add scenes here, and I can say this goes to the overworld, to the default spawn, and then to the right. And so when I run this, I can run here, and it'll take me to the overworld, and this should return me back to the debug. So that's what I've been doing, like adding in this ability from the inspector, just for level editing purposes. Like I can have that dungeon up there, that like a dungeon entrance or something. I could just create that right there and tell it to go to the dungeon and what specific spawn point kind of thing. And then we can delete these, which we're going to do here. All right, so good. I have an idea for the map maker. Maybe you could have an editor for the character. What do you mean? Like a player, like a character maker. I wouldn't do that for the map maker itself. This is just for building levels. It's like even it's not meant for the gameplay type stuff. I mean, you'll be able to, as users, you'll be able to use it and stuff, but it's not meant for a typical gameplay session. Yeah. If I was going to do a character customization, that'd be built into the game, not the level editor. Character customization, though, something we talked about before. It would be a lot of work that it's very, very much back burner. Like if there is character customization in the game, you probably won't see it for a couple years, because that's way, way back there. So we're going to get started on this. I already have a scene for this guy, but I don't have anything to it. So let's go ahead and find it. I think I just called it Spirit. It just has this here. Let me hide this guy. Did you make AI on stream or offline? Can you talk about it a bit? We will get into the AI for this because we're going to be working with it. It's mostly movement code. We can talk about the Skelly code. Skelly code's a little different. We'll get into that. And, well, we'll go ahead and do it. If y'all are interested. So the Skelly Warrior. And I've also done a thing here. If you know anything about my state machines, you know, like we got this, and it can be a little long sometimes. And the character, like the code and stuff, is in the state machine itself. So I've done a thing to where, let me pull up my state machine, where I can say, I can make a method name, give it the state name, and say like process or whatever. And if it has that method, then it'll call it. It's a very good way from, I don't know about good, I don't know how about efficient, but we'll see. But it allows me to put my state logic here. So I can be like, this is what happens when there's chasing the player. It's just easier to write code this way, instead of having to define all that stuff in the state machine. So with the Skelly Warrior, he will start out in the idle tack. He will go, we did the Skelly, I think we did this in the last stream. Well, we worked on the Skelly logic some. I've changed it a lot since then. We got rid of the separate attack. Now the attack is just the dash, but it's slower and he runs and everything like that. So so we go to the wander. Velocity is when they're just dancing around. Pursue is when they chase you, and then it goes into the telegraphing. And once they're done telegraphing, which is a little hop if I remember correctly, they'll run into a lunge, which is where they run at you. And that's pretty much it. Like, that's very basic stuff that they walk up to you still, and they wait until they're ready to attack, and they have randomized timers for this, and then they lunge at you. And then there's a thing they check to see who around them is attacking. So I set it up so that only two entities can attack at the same time, which I can show off. Would you recommend learning Godot? I would. I believe Godot is very beginner friendly. But personally, I would recommend just trying several things and see what you like best. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own preferences. But if we were to add a bunch of these guys in, like only two is going to attack it in a local area, which they seem to be ignoring, maybe? I don't know. Maybe I've reduced the size or something. But used to it was like they'd only have a couple of them attacking at a time. Apparently something might be broken. But let me get rid of these real quick. And then we'll get into the movement code is the interesting bit. And we will get into that as we develop this guy, because we're going to be using that a lot. With this guy, I'm thinking, this guy right here, I'm thinking, and y'all feel free to chip in. We can work on this together or whatever. But I'm thinking he'll wander around for a bit, and with his little skull on. Now keep in mind, he has, well, we'll get into that. We'll get into it. He'll just sort of wander around like every other entity. And when he spots you, maybe he'll sort of try to run around and get the attention of the nearby enemies. But his main thing is that when he attacks, he will drop down to the ground, leave his skull behind, and take his spirit form. The spirit form will run around along the ground, and during this time, his spirit form is invulnerable, but his skull is vulnerable. And then maybe if you get too close to the skull, he charges at you, jumps up, and does like a little jumping attack. And that's the plan for that. And then does that, return to his skull, pick it back up, and then sort of run off with it. And the idea is sort of try to do a little cat and mouse game with that. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I have not prototyped the behavior at all. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is prototyping this behavior, seeing how fun it is, that kind of thing. We will need to separate the skull from the body because I don't have that yet. Because it's going to be two separate pieces. He's going to carry around with him when he's wearing it, and then he's going to drop it on the ground and leave it when he does his little maneuver around thing. The sprout looks kind of cute, but thank you. That was the intention. I don't want all the enemies to be evil looking. I wanted just something a little cute. But then again, I don't want all the enemies to be cute. It's going to be a weird balance. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but it's going to be weird. When he leaves the skull, will he have arms or will he attack in a unique way? I was thinking, now when he attacks, when he leaves and he pops up, he's going to be like very angry, very evil looking, is what I'm thinking. So he'll wear the sad skull, but without it, he's very just mean looking. I'm thinking it would be more of a jump and dip kind of attack. We're not going to get too advanced with the AI stuff right now. If we want to make more advanced enemies later, we can get into that. But right now, I don't even have like a dungeon or boss or anything. So I just want to get some basic enemies done. And this is sort of break up the monotony. Now keep in mind, this is for the demo, not for the actual game. The demo is only going to be about 15, 20 minutes of gameplay. And so we don't need to do any really advanced concepts right now. We just sort of need to get a vertical slice going to, tell the player what the game is about. And keep in mind that this is like the first 15 minutes of the game. Like, it's not going to be anything too difficult. So it's going to be a very weird balancing thing to make it interesting and not overwhelming. So we're not looking for complexity here. We're just wanting to keep things basic and to the point. Probably a little odd. What if he was in a mobile stage? He could occasionally disappear and then suddenly reappear behind the player. We could do some interesting things like that. That would be cool. Because I would actually be up for that. We'd have to telegraph it so that, like, when he pops up, kind of make it spooky. Because I have no trouble with making this game a little spoopy. What code languages does Godot use? It uses a bunch of them. The main ones being GD Script and C#, but it uses a whole bunch of others. Like, I think you can even use C++ with it. But yeah, it's flexible. Let's see, what more enemies, basic ones, are you planning on adding? For the demo, this might be it. I'm thinking 3 enemies and a boss. Will the demo be available to the public? I'd love to play. Yes, that's the demo will be the public one, which would be around March. Given how behind schedule I am, probably about the end of March. So yeah, and then when we do that, we're going to we'll post it up on Itch, probably do a Kickstarter at the same time. Steam page, the whole works. That is the idea. but with me being out for the past little bit, I'm behind schedule. Oh, speaking of which, the priority for the devlogs has been pushed back so I can keep up. But I have been streaming development on my Discord for those interested. There's a link in the description. And for every day, I'm planning on hopping there for about 4-6 hours a day and developing in the morning and at night. So if y'all are interested in like getting some more behind the scenes stuff, like what I'm doing in between these streams, between the next devlog, as soon as I can, but like really development is my main priority right now. Exciting stuff. Well, thank you. I mean, we've made a whole community thing out of it. We all gather in there, sometimes 8 to 10 of us, and chat and do development. And there's even a music bot we've installed. So it's a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun with it. So to this guy, we need to add him into the level. I don't have a tile map thing yet. Do I want to make one? First thing I need to do, yes, music bot. You might want to lower your speakers when you join. Oh, we are in the works of swapping it out though. Kevin, one of our mods, is currently developing a bot, and Marrero and Bobby have been talking about Groovy. So I'm going to take a look at that. I went with Me6 because we already had the bot, and so I didn't feel like faffing about with another one. But it seems like Me6 might not be the best option. What if the spirit could spawn Spirit Hawks that dive at you? We could do that. Spirit Hawks would be interesting. The trouble with Spirit Hawks is my immediately thought was the crows in Links to the Past. And while I'm taking inspiration from Links to the Past, I don't want people thinking about Links to the Past while I play this. While they play this. So very skeptical about that one. So for level data, what I'm gonna do, we're gonna hack this together because I don't feel like going and through and making all the spawner thing that I do for the other stuff. So we're gonna go here, characters, and we're gonna add. Actually, I already have one. Good. I'm gonna add this guy, and we're gonna spawn up that map and get rid of the other enemies because we want to test this guy in isolation first, make sure he's fun, and then we'll throw him in with the other entities and see how he behaves. Throw him right on top of that one. Okay, so that's where that is. Kind of overpowered. Depends on. I mean, I wouldn't say that. Depends on what you're doing. If there's only one of them and you don't put them with too much, it could be interesting. All right, so we have the guy. We need to get rid of that. Let's get this graphic going in here, so it looks nice for y'all. Which I need to separate. So I don't even think I have a separate thing for this. We'll have to separate it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is copy this, and then we'll get rid of all this. We'll say 48 by 48. All right. And we'll make a character. Let's see. Enemies. We're going to make an ASC. Yes. Now, we need to separate his head right quick. We're not going to have... Well, wait, we can fill it in right quick. Placeholder for the spirit enemy. What's that? Oh, what is the blob? Oh, yeah. That was when I was making the scene. I was going to do this. I was going to prepare this stuff. Actually, no, I was going to make this entity off camera. But I started messing around with the movement code that I showed earlier, which I'm very proud of. Like, very excited. That's what the devlog is going to be about, the next one. It's the movement code. Oh, here. It's the movement code, because it's really good. I'm really happy with that. And so we're going to show that off here in a second. It's something I have had a lot of trouble with for a long time as a developer. Like, enemy AI movement is very difficult, in my opinion. Especially if you don't know squat about it. Alright. Now, we're not going to animate this during the stream, so it's going to look really weird the whole time, but yeah. Let's see. Will this new enemy be able to go invisible? It's going to turn into a shadow on the floor, and then it'll move around. That's the idea. I mean, no promises until we get this thing implemented, because I've never made an enemy like this, so I don't know how fun it'll be. I think it'll be interesting, though. So here's the boss or the other element. I'm not sure who the boss is going to be yet. We made... Let me pull this up. We made an interesting boss here, I think it was. One of these guys. I've been thinking, though, and given the flipping sprite animation that I do, I don't know how I would do his attack. Like, because, I don't know, it seems like it would be weird having him move around like that. I don't know. We'll have to see. Like, with the player, he has his arms and he can aim it off all directions. With the skeletons, they do the same thing. With him, he would only be able to aim in, like, 2 of the directions, which would leave him very vulnerable north and south. So, is it supposed to be tail? This, the spirit is, the actual spirit part is going to change. It's not going to be like this. I don't like it. It's all bubbly. It's meant to look like a spirit, though. I'm thinking we go sharper edges, more like fabric. I'll play around with that, though. Make him ram into the MC. What's the MC? What does that mean? Oh, man. Oh, gotcha. Well, we'll have to see. We'll probably do the boss on another stream, and we can talk about that. If we go with him or a different one. Maybe the spirit's attack shouldn't actually damage you, but just stun you if it hits you. We'll see. I want this guy to be deadly, very, very aggressive. Like he's going to be a dual character. So like his skull's very sad, it's very weepy, very, very depressing. But once he gets that, like under that skull, he's like, he's a very, very aggressive looking character. I want it to be like a complete opposite. So I want him to be threatening. I want him to be aggressive. I want him to be, like we might even change his eyes to red just to sort of emphasize that. So I want to be a total flip. Like he might even be the creepiest enemy in the game. Make the spirit have player like hands if you don't want to. Well, I'm thinking he's gonna do like a dive attack. So he'll do a collision damage, and it'd be sort of a little wispy, like pop up and pop back down, like a dolphin, like a creepy dolphin. So yeah, let me. Export spreadsheet. We want to split the layers. Oh, I need to fix that head right quick. Yeah. Oh, so turns itself into a ghost fireball. Kind of like that, yeah, sure. I wouldn't say fire, but yeah. Like a turns himself into a projectile, basically. Or not like on the ground he's not dangerous. But when he gets near you, he'll pop up and attack you. Why do you slip the head? Wait. Why did I separate them? Because he's going to be dropping his skull onto the ground. Yeah, we're going to be separating that. And so we split these tags here. And we'll have it like the body will be what moves around, and then the head will be a separate entity. And so when he attacks, we'll set it on the ground. We'll set it as top level, which I'll show y'all in a second. It's a really cool trick if y'all have never heard of it. We'll set it as top level, and then we'll go on from there. Do you consider monsters having elements? What do you mean by that? Like fire monsters and stuff like that? I haven't gotten that far into it. The only enemies I have planned is the ones that I've shown y'all. Now, granted, this is going back a bit. So there's been a few, and I think there's an enemy that I forgot about. I seen a file called Hop and Pop the other day. I'll have to look at. I don't really remember what that is. I'm thinking it's a little slidey enemy that pops up, sort of like this. So we might look at that inspiration. Okay, spirit. That. I don't want this to be horizontal. Can I do that? I would like for it to be the other way around, to be honest. Looks weird, but whatever. That works. I'm thinking that's good. Did I set the output? Yeah, okay, cool. Maybe he pops up near you. It knocks you down. We could try that. We will try a whole bunch of stuff, because I really have no idea how well this is going to go gameplay-wise. It's very much experimental here. So we'll be trying various things. There it is. All right. That is that. So, of the spirit center that great. I hope so. Hate to see you go, Mark. You too, Vasu. Well, like I said, if y'all are interested, like I'm going to be doing development every day. It's pretty early in the morning, though. So for me, I don't know about y'all, but every day I plan on working on this in the stream, and I have been for what, 2 days now. 6 hours at a time. It's good stuff. I get a lot done. What time is it for you? It is now 12:50 for me in the afternoon. Oof, must have scaled that. No? Scaled that. There we go. Text alert. No, okay. When the game's done, will you publish it on itch or similar to make its own website? I'm going to, at least it'll be on Steam. I've thought about itch. I'm not sure how that'll go. I'm skeptical of launching on a bunch of different platforms because of it might hurt performance of the thing. So like if say I did really well on Steam and I did really well on itch, combined would have probably been better versus say now I did half as well if I split the platforms. Something I'm thinking about. I don't know. It's something I will have to think about a lot. I think it's a very, very important decision. So we'll have to see. Make a bad guy who duplicates himself. Well, we not right now. We could add that to the list. I think enemies like that are fun. Like if you have to be careful with it because it can get out of hand. But what was it? Azure Dreams had that little splitty monster that was interesting, and I think. Will you make? Yes, I will support Linux, Windows, and Mac at the very least. I am building this in such a way that will be supported on consoles as well. But I've never done console work, so that's up in the air. But yeah, at the very least, it will be the major computer platforms. Maybe put a demo. Well, I'm thinking if I put a demo, it might be on itch. I'm thinking I'm leaning more towards demo on itch, and then sell on Steam. So I guess very, very much considering how I want to do that, and it's a very important decision, I think. But I think itch would be good because it would, even that is an important decision because if I put the demo on Steam and a lot of people go to play the demo there, Steam might promote that more. I don't know. Yeah, you said major computer platforms, but also Linux. So which one is it? That's several people are typing in our Discord right there. Oh man. Okay, so we've got this guy. What about if you let people get Steam keys from itch? So even I have to consider how that would affect the Steam performance. It's a lot of stuff to consider. And it's the first time I've actually seen this guy in the world. It's kind of cute. Just don't make it mobile. No, it's not going to be mobile. I don't feel like dealing with the performance of trying to do that. This stuff, I expect this to be the ideas that I have for this game. It's not really big, but I think it wouldn't be performance friendly. Some of the ideas that I have, overall yes, but certainly not mobile. Steam takes away 30%. Yeah, but Steam's also very good at very popular. Yeah, it's highway robbery, but highway robbery where you benefit from it. All right, so let's think about how we want to do this. So when you meet him, he's going to be wandering around. We're going to spot the player like typical. Do a little alert maybe. And I'm guessing he just sort of runs around trying to get people's attention. 70% of 1,000 cells is better than 100% of 12 cells. That is exactly right. So yeah, once he gets alerted, he'll run around. Maybe on a timer, he'll drop his skull. And then he'll... trying to think of ways. I don't want him to just run around again. Or maybe we make him drop his skull immediately when he's aggroed. And then he starts floating around. And if you get near his skull, he pops up. Let's try that. Let's try that and see how that goes. I want to have him run around, but I don't want him to run around, drop a skull, and then run around again in a spirit form. So we'll have to see. Crunchy eggs. That's you're supposed to take the eggshells out of the pan. They're not good to eat, but so okay. I believe I already made a state machine. Okay, and we are yes. Okay, so let's close up a bunch of this for readability purposes. We're gonna keep that open. And all of that. It is burnt, not shells. Got you. The equivalent of chunky milk. Oof. Oof. Unity developer. So do you think Godot is better than Unity? I don't think any engine is better than any other. I think it depends on what you want in an engine. I think Godot is good for me because it is simple, to the point, and powerful. Like I can do powerful things quickly and easily. And that's what I love about it. I don't want to faff about with all this nonsense when Godot would just, you want to do that? Here's a method to do that. Go. Can it build? Or are you asking Godot or can? Well, I don't know what you're asking. Yeah. Have you been in a movie? You look familiar. No, I've never been in a movie that I'm aware of. Not a really. You're probably mistaken. Okay, so add state will have the idle state, the wander state, the alert state's built in. Let's take a look at that. Oh, alert state is built in. Okay. So the wander, whenever an entity gets by, he will call. That's when he'll drop his skull. What do we call that state where he has the skull on the ground and he's sort of wandering around it? The one episode of Cops, but that's the show. Hey, how's it going? It's going pretty good. How about yourself? Let's see. Decapitated. Okay. Kylosi. I won't remember that. Well, I can know. Sonic. I don't remember names when people. If it's not in your username, I won't remember it. Hey, well, thank you for the donation. It's very kind of you. Let's see. So, wonder. Wander. What do we call that mode when he's sort of wandering around his skull? Add state. Can you show the game? I can. So let me grab an enemy. Oops. I'll pull over here. I just hit F5. I should probably make the switch state F5 because that would make more sense. Yeah, so right now we got mostly combat. Inner air and combat and stuff. And we are currently working on this guy right here, getting him added to the game. And I just realized how slanted that skull is. What about a farming system? I am thinking of a farming system. It's very, very back burner. And if I do a farming system, very important note, it won't be your typical farming system. It won't be Harvest Moon style, water your crops, take 30 minutes to water your crops, that kind of thing. I want it to be very direct, to the point, not the focus of the gameplay, that kind of thing. Now with this game, one of the ideas with this game, the sort of, like when I first had, like, the idea to make this specific game, was I wanted to play a game that, it was an RPG, but sort of sim-like in nature. Like, which is, I think, the first time I've said this for like a, and I don't know why, but sort of sim-like in nature. I wanted to make a game where you live in that town. Like, you run around, you explore dungeons, you Stardew Valley, whatever, but you live there. Like, doing things. Like you can feel a part of that town. That's not the main goal of this game, but it is an essence that I want to capture. The main thing is exploration, meeting NPCs and stuff like that. But an essence that I really want to convey is that you are a part of that town, and I think a farming system is good for that. But I don't want it to be like this is a farming game. So we'll have to see about that and what uses we can get out of that. But I would love to do like very role play centric mechanics like that, role play centered mechanics like that to sort of help you feel a part of that town. Like your actions affect the world. Well, you redesign the spirit enemy, it doesn't fit. What do you mean it doesn't fit? I'm just dropping in for a second. Well, howdy, welcome to the stream. What do you mean it doesn't fit? It's a game about skeletons and undead. It's like it fits perfect. Now like if you mean graphically, I don't like the spirit thing. It's very bubbly. I'm wanting to make it look more more wispy, but we'll have to see about that. It's dark and everything is light. Maybe that purple, make it purple instead of black. It is purple, which is a very dark purple. We'll probably lighten the purple up. It's a good point. That is the sort of the essence I want to capture for this game, though. Like, all this stuff is cute and everything, and then we have dark enemies. Sort of the aesthetic that I'm going for. That is intentional. Probably a little too dark, like you said, though. So we'll make that, give it a little more saturation, a little lighten the color a little bit. But the darkness of the enemies is very much intentional. It's a game about die. There you go. But that was even something I said in my very first devlog. It's like, I want a cute and dark aesthetic. That's like, anytime I design something, I'm like, is it cute? Is it dark? All right, so let's get back to this. We have a wander state. Let's just call it floaty state. Oh, we're good. So we have a floaty state, we'll call it a guard state. This is when he's going to be guarding his skull. And then we'll have a pursue state, so pardon that. Add state, pursue. Hover. It's not really hovering, though. He's like sunking into the ground as a shadow. There it is. Shadow state. That is when he's in the ground, sort of floating around his skull. And then when you get close enough, he'll start chasing you. That'll do is pursue. And then we'll have an attack state. Attack state will be his jump. Oops. Okay, so wandering around, when you get close enough, he'll drop his skull and then float around it. When you get close enough, he'll probably do some kind of an alert. I don't know if we want to do that alert. We might even let's look at this. What do we have for the alert state? There's probably a method for it in the character, one of the characters. How do you type so fast? I never thought I did type fast, to be honest. I always thought I was a slow typer. I was a slow typer in school. I was always the last one to finish my typing assignments. Slow typer, slow writer. I hate writing. Okay. Ooh, what about like random events, like maybe the town, I don't know, gets raided by hostile things already planned, and you have to defend it, and there were chances someone might have abducted and you would have to go rescue. Already planned. We already have ideas for that. There's actually a really cool thing I have planned for that. So look forward to that. Okay. Idle, wander, shadow, pursue, attack. Necromancers. What are we talking about necromancers? How do you... yeah. Necromancers. The main baddie is a necromancer. Okay. So we need to set our state to idle. Hold on. Let's take a look at the Skelly Warrior right quick to get to a refresher of how the layout works. So we call need the final boss to be a witch who can summon the enemies. Oh, you talking about for the demo? Or are you talking about like I would imagine the demo? Which I don't know that a witch would fit as much. Like story wise, how do we fit a witch into there? The Well, we'll worry more about that when we get closer to that. Because there's the necromancer. You're probably going to meet him in the demo, and so that's probably what we'll use. The same necromancer will be there. Yeah, he might be there. He'll probably do some things. Uh, Not to that point yet. I know to worry about it. So we will get that in probably the next month or so. Hopefully, I'm pushing right now. To get the dungeon out. I've fiddled around long enough, kicked the can long enough down the road. I'm wanting to get the dungeon out as soon as possible. So that's what I'm working on right now. Which is worth the switch? Wait, what? Witches are not worth the switch. Necromancer has a powerful story. We have the necromancer is a necromancer for a reason, and it fits into the story. The very story. He's a story necromancer. Okay, so we have the state logic. State logic is called forever physics frame. Let's get our transitions going first. Let's do that. That's where I like to start with these. And the reason I'm a little iffy right now is because I redid this. And so usually you can just jump straight in. I don't know how this works, but this is my first time creating a state machine using this new logic from the get-go. So it's a little disorientating, to be honest. Let me just go ahead and copy my methods. One thing I don't like about this is how I have to do this manually. I should probably have like a commented code that I could just copy. Because used to I could just copy all these methods and then get going. And then I have all this, and it sort of takes time to do this. So I'm going to get this sorted out, and then we'll make like a commented thing out so I can just copy it and paste it. I don't like that, but I really don't like having to do this each and every time I want to do something. So we will copy that as sort of like a baseline all the way down here and comment it out. Okay. Built-in state machines are going to put you out of work at your job not making tutorials on state machines. There you go. Let's see. Some people like drawing, modeling, animating, so that's where they focus their efforts with minimal code. Ooh, what are we talking about? Whichever you find more interesting. Oh yeah, okay, gotcha. When making a game, should one focus on graphics or gameplay first? Okay. Even if you're an artist, I would focus on gameplay first. If you're learning to code, do what you want. But if you're making a game, and I'm talking about really early on, like you've never finished a game before, you're still learning to code. Do what you want. But if you're set out to make a game, I would go gameplay first. Make it fun, and then add your art. If you add your art and then you do your gameplay, you may change your art. You may have wasted your time on that art because, say, you start out with a space. You're like, I'm gonna make a spaceman game. He walks around on an asteroid, and then you start making your game, and you realize, oh wait, no, this works better as like a fox chasing a chicken in a coop thing. You just wasted all that time making all that art that you're not gonna need. Make the gameplay first. Decide what art you need. But yeah, I'm not an artist, so I'm not mainly an artist. I just dabble. So that's just my opinion. Make it fun first. Do you have a Godot tour? I have a couple. They're on the channel. Does anyone else? I'm going to pull up the Roxy clone. Well, why don't you make it inherit rather than copy code? It is inherited. It's inherited. But this is, it calls back Yeah, this requires it to be called. I could do a. I might do that. Have like a like another interstate method or something meant for a virtual mistake. Yeah, I'll probably do that. We'll do that later, not right now. But the reason I'm copying it is because it goes back and calls the parent. But at the very base of it, I have methods that I want to be called that I can't have them skipped. So okay, so spirit when he's an idle, he's gonna check for nearby targets. So and we already have a reference here for how we do this. So this is probably going to be the same. We have to get parent equals null, we go into wander mode. And then in the wander mode, we keep checking again for that target. And if it's not null, meaning that somebody's nearby, we go into aggro mode. So that's what we're going to do here. So match states.idle if parent.target. Now, one of the bad things about this state machine is it is a bit more copy code than I like. I need to find a way around that, but state machines it's weird getting them to be modular without being cumbersome. Because I used to have a state machine, my very first state machine. I did it for my very first jam. It was modular, like you could drag in little components and stuff like that. But to make that little jam that I did, and this was a clicking moment when I did that jam, to make that tiny little jam to where you walked on a platform and you attacked slimes, it took me all the time just to use that state machine, just to add states and all the different granular control that it had. And so that was when I developed this one, which is quicker to develop, but it lost a lot of that modularity. What's the difference between a switch statement and if else? And when should we use one other than, or use one than the other? There is not much of a difference. It is pretty much an if else. Like you could accomplish the same thing by saying if state equals states.idle and then the other else. Usually a switch statement is more of a convention thing, I think. It doesn't do conditions. Like I couldn't say if switch that and state is less than 3 or 4, whatever, like you would use a switch statement for like if this is that, if like that's why it's called a state machine, is because if that variable is this, then you use that. Now that's where the term state machine comes from, is the switch case statement. Or am I wrong? I'm probably wrong about that one. Why was I so certain about that? I don't know. I was very confident about that statement. Now I'm not so sure. Switch can be more efficient. Can it? I didn't know that. I always thought it was just more of a convention thing. Whoops. So if parent gets target, if we get the target and it's not equal to null, wait, is it? If it equals null. Yes. That means we don't have a target, so we should just go into the wander state. Be wrong with confidence. I mean, I was very confident about that statement. Then I was like, wait a minute. I might have just made that up. Oh, man. Okay, otherwise we need to switch our aggression state. Okay. Yeah. Else, that means we have a target, so then we need to do the CPU preloads instructions for speed, but when it hits an if statement, it has to evaluate, so it can't preload. Oh, really? That is really cool. I like that. So I like learning little stuff like that. I appreciate that. Does that apply for Godot as well, though? Because Godot is not a compiled language. I don't know. Like, I mean, probably just sounded like a massive idiot right there, but I don't know. Let's see. So states are activated when something happens and when you put script inside the state. Yeah, so I have it's called a state machine. which so like it's a variable that says this is what you are. Like you're in this state. It's like imagine jumping versus running. Uh, that's a bad example. Oh yeah, okay. It's jumping versus running. Running being defined as on the ground, like not moving. Keep that in mind. You can't be jumping and running at the same time. Like jumping by nature, you're off the ground. Running by nature, you're on the ground. You can't be both. You have to be one. So you set a state, and then this machine says, okay, you entered this state. This is, do this logic. You exit this state, do that, that kind of thing. It's a whole thing gets set up that you define instructions for. Godot is half and half, isn't it? I thought the built-ins were. Yeah. It runs, like I could see, as a foundation, or C++ is a foundation, or whatever. Howdy. Dev. Howdy, Dev. All right, so this is if parent dot is acro, which means that we've already been aggressive. So my idle states are usually my reset states. So imagine the enemy, they do their whole attack thing. When I want to reset the enemy, I always come back to the idle so that things can get reset. And so the thing about this is when I exit the idle, I do an alert state. When the first time the enemy gets aggroed, and so this alerts and everything. And so to prevent it from doing that again, I have this variable that tells me whether or not I should be entering the attack state or being alerted for the first time. Now, when he's alerted, we might not even need that because no, we do. Wait, this is going to be interesting because that's not going to be the. Okay, so something we didn't define. Let me get rid of this. It was what he did after the attack. So let's go open this guy back up right quick. We're getting into weeds here, making enemies. To be fair, I mean, I think y'all, I would imagine y'all would just be more interested in chilling out. If you're interested in seeing progress, I would suggest going and joining the Discord streams, because that's when, like, I don't do any voice chat or anything like that. I don't get distracted. I just sit down and work, and then every now and again I'll check the chat to see what y'all are talking about. But here, it's more of an interactive thing, I reckon. I'm going to be massively distracted during these streams. Always am. So he drops his head, floats around it. If you approach, he charges at you, attacks, and goes back. Do we go back into the pursue state, give him a cooldown timer before he can go back into the attack? That's what I'm thinking. And in the pursue state, he sort of... Oh, this will be interesting. We would want him to move maybe towards the player, but also near his skull. We'll have to consider that. That would be interesting when I show you all the movement code. That'll be interesting to figure that out. Binary to machine code to C# to GD script. There you go. I think the game is very pretty. Well, thank you. What programming language do you use to make a programming language? Oh, that's what that was. Are you trying to create a state system? I'm not trying to create a state system. I already have the state system. Just trying to create the system for the enemy itself. We're creating the logic for the enemy. Right now, we're just trying to figure out how I want to do this exactly. So we don't need this resetter here. If we have a target and we're in the idle state, we're probably never even going to return to the idle state, to be honest. But just in case, because later down the road, maybe I do an idle state to reset. We need to go, okay. Wander state, if there's a player in the range. We go into shadow state. There we go. State's not shadow. Shadow is the state where he's hovering around. Let me put some notes in here for anybody joining. Now, the pursue state, the thing to keep in mind is it doesn't mean that he can attack. It doesn't mean he's chasing at you. In fact, we're probably going to have another state here, like the lunge state or something. This is where he directly charges at you, and then that transitions into... The pursue state is just he stays near the player. He just wants to keep close to the player and near here and his skull. And then the attack, he jumps out of shadowed form at the player. And at this time, he's also vulnerable as well. In his shadow form, he's not vulnerable. Unless he's popped out of the ground, that's what I'm thinking. We'll have to see how that feels from the player's perspective. Hate switch statements? What do you hate switch statements for? I like switch statements when they're used for stuff like that, like state machines and stuff. Okay, and then the wander state, he sort of floats around with skull on head. Okay. That'll also be a serve as a note for us. So we go into the shadow state, and then in the shadow state, no, wait, if it's not equal to no, it means the player is nearby. And then we return space.shadow, not shadow. Wander state, excuse me. Getting ahead of myself. Then we return states.shadow. States.shadow is when he drops his skull, which will do all that interstate stuff. Need to make a state machine for the enemies in my game as well. Nice. I have a tutorial on state machines if you need one. I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, it's not the best state machine, but I like it. I created a state machine without using switch statements. What for? That's the one with the skull. Yes, the this guy right here. That's the one. Okay, so wander, shadow. Shadows when he drops his skull, hovers around it. Now that, let's see. No, hold on. Okay, now the shadow state is the player is close, but not close enough. Like there's sort of two ranges here, I guess. So we'll have states.shadow if parent. I want to move these transitions also to the character code as well, but we'll see. So if parent, that wouldn't be as easy. No, I mean it would be easy, but it would be as readable. Like I like to be able to see the transitions when I do this stuff here. There we go. We'll have an is target nearby, meaning the player is like close enough to trigger him to get aggressive. That's when we return our pursue state, which is when he'll come up to the player. Well, also later on we won't worry about it right now, but during the shadow state, if the player leaves and becomes untargeted, then he'll return to his wander state. He'll go and pick up his skull and everything. with this guy, I would like for him to be like, imagine the player sees it for the first time, goes, "Oh, what is this guy? He's all sad. Oh, poor guy," and he walks up to it, and then just like really fast, make him freak out. I think that would be interesting. So let's see, or even just so curious, like he drops the skull and sort of floats around it, and people start getting curious. And then when I get close enough, then that's when we do it. I think that would be fun. We'll have to see how that plays design-wise, though, because that players don't like being attacked by something when they don't have a chance to really observe its behavior. So we can't be too quick with it. How's the stream doing? Stream's doing all right. We got a little distracted there for a bit, but we're doing good. We are currently adding in this the state logic, the transition logic for the state machines. State spot pursue. This is what he stays near the player in the skull. Okay, cool. This is right. So if parent can attack, then we want to return states.lunge. And states.lunge is when he's moving fast towards the player, about to attack him, we want to say if parent if I recall, Soul Reaver 2 had enemies that learned how the player fought. I don't think it used a neural network though. That's oh, has anyone ever made a game with neural network with NPCs that learn? Wouldn't that be like very analysis paralysis? What are we talking about? Talking about me? Maybe. Well, I'm just trying to think of a good name. It's not really. Yeah, pretty much. I'm trying to think of a good name for this. So that it's not confusing. I don't like to confuse my method names and stuff because it makes it difficult to work later on. We have this, which is to pursue, and if the player is close enough to start lunging at, and ideal. This is if they're close enough so that they can hit the player. Let's go. Can hit target. I don't like that though, but yeah, I'm bad at naming conventions in my code. Yeah, I like to try to get it right the first time because it really does confuse things later on. And these are terrible. I know I'm going to have to change them later. Stage set attack is when he's popped up out of the ground. So if not parent dot attacking, return states dot pursue or shadow. Pursue. Now having the shadow state might be confusing because you might think he would go back into the shadow state. Well, maybe he does. Maybe he does. Because he'll go back into the pursue state from the shadow. Okay. Now, I think that's all we need for that state stuff. Make a little clip of this. So that I know what methods I need to make. And then we'll go all right. Let's see. Strawberry milk is nice. Yeah, it probably is very hard to balance, but you know, gimmick. Oh, yeah. It would be cool though. But it would be really cool, but it would be expensive, I would imagine. Okay. So get target. Let's look at that right quick. We have an enemy. Or is it AI? No, actually, I'm my battle character. There we go. Okay. Wait. Why did I check that? I know I had. Okay, no. We need. Oh, right. Okay, I see what we're doing. We need to update our target, which is something we're going to do in the state. Actually, let me do another thing. I'll grab these so I can remember what states I have. Shoot. If I do that, I'll get rid of that. Oh well. Idle process. And in this idle process, I think it. No. Does it? Pursue process. Okay. Doesn't look like it. Alright, so we don't get the delta. We need to update our targets. Which we have this method here. I'm surprised him by thinking what. Alright, so get ideal target. Aggro detection radius. I think we should pass in this value. so we can do that here. Get ideal target. Let's say this is for how to trigger the player. Let's say 6 tiles. And then we can just, I think we can just say set target. And then that'll return null, and I'll have my set target method will take that into account. Wait. I think we'll have to do the same thing. Yeah. Make this a method because we're going to call this in the other one as well. So this will update our current target. Check for the nearest player. Okay, so then we have our state machine here. Bring this over here for y'all to see. So that'll get, and it'll return wonder if there's not a target. Alright, so it'll go into the shadow. Same for that. And then is there a target nearby? Or is not a target, but is the target. So now I'm using weak references to get my targets for efficiency. Well, not efficiency, but to prevent the game from crashing, because Godot is weird if like the target leaves in the middle or whatever. So we get our target. That's the target. And this needs to return Boolean. Okay, so we have our target, and we want to get, we just need to get the distance. Do we have, yeah, no point in doing that, so we can say, I might even have a method for doing this. I feel like I've done this before. Let me check. So I feel like I do this all the time, but all right. I'll look for it later. Target dot go position minus position. Constant for I don't know. Jeez, I'm having trouble with names today. We'll go aggressive range. I don't know if it'll let me do that. It usually has an issue with that. Maybe. If turn distance is less than aggressive radius. Okay, so there's that. Can attack. Can attack might already be a method. Might be called should attack. Let me look at this one here. Should attack. Phil said that you caught your copy art to potato level IQ. It's. I don't understand it. Like, the only thing I can see is the whole disembodied hand and the sprite flipping. Disembodied hand is a thing that a lot of games do. Enter the Gungeon, I've made a list before, but there's a whole bunch of games that would do that, and there's a reason for it, and it's so that you don't have to bake in your attacks into your sprites. You can just sort of do them in 360 degrees. Uh, and then the sprite flipping is just because I'm lazy and don't want to draw up and down sprites. Like that's the only similarities that I can get. Like his, I mean, it's a roguelike, fast paced, high octane, whatever. Uh, combat, very combat oriented, whereas mine's just like a chilled out role playing game. I love how when making fun of people for you spelling, you always, yeah, it happens every time. I like Godot, but working on multiple files at the same time is pace killing. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean there. How do you, not so much Godot, but in other languages? Like in Unity, Unity is very much even more granular than Godot. Unity has those components that people do to where there's like 20 different scripts for one thing, which is nice because game development, especially it's object-oriented programming, is tricky with game development, and so it's nice to be able to add components instead, which I kind of wish Godot had. The legend left it. My joke. Well, there you go. It's a funny joke. I use Sublime because I can have multiple scripts open at the same time. Oh, gotcha. I think Godot 4 is getting multi-window support. So like right now I can't break out these scripts or anything. So like I have to keep separating these. But I'm pretty sure Godot 4 is changing that. You won't notice it in the streams much because that means like it was more for multi-monitors, I would reckon. But and y'all can't see this monitor over here. But I mean, well, no, it wouldn't help me because I could have like this guy up here. I could put it up over there and see my methods here, which is why I've got this right here. Oh, let's see. If I could make plugin, I'd make one where you click a button and then search the script. Search the script where? Easy character controllers and swords. There you go. Just make a plugin that makes a game for you. That'd be great. So spirit here. And we were working on target nearby. Whoops. Oh well. And we want can attack. All right, we were looking at that. Right. So we have should attack here, which if countdown has stopped, we have the target. This is the pursue state, right? Which is okay. And is less distance than the attack range. Okay, we're going to use that one then. Pretty much what we need. So if should attack, then we're going to lunge. Okay. I really don't like that name, but function can hit target. What did I miss? The setting up the state machine, pretty much. We're doing the logic for it now. Wait, there is already the 4 coming in. What are we talking about? Wait. Oh, Godot 4. Yeah, Godot 4. Not too. I don't know. Like it looks like it's pretty well along though. I think they do a new release every year, just around roughly. Like that's sort of the pattern they have. It even says it in the documentation. Hold on. I seen something on it the other day. I don't know where I'd find it though. Never mind. Game Endeavor be like, what are we talking about? Make it like the nodes within Unreal? Yeah, I looked at Unreal briefly when I started doing, like I was dabbling in 3D development about a year ago, less than that, earlier this year. I think it was earlier this year. Does Godot pull a FIFA and just copy paste their games, but with game engines? No, there's massive updates every time they do. No. And like their naming convention is, it's not like a big celebratory thing. It just means that 4 4 will be incompatible with 3, if I'm not mistaken. Like you'll have to make major project updates to upgrade. I could be wrong, but that was the impression that I got reading their one of their documentation pages. Will you move the game to Godot 4 when it was released? I would like to. Yes, that is. I would love to, because Godot 4 seems so good. Like a lot of features in there that I'm looking forward to. But no, whenever they update, every time that I've seen it, it's always been like really big updates. Even the minor ones, like what we're on Godot 3.2, like the change from Godot 3.1 to 3.2 was massive, and that's not even a whole new version. So, yeah, like even that minor change would put FIFA to shame. Well, not shame, like in that way. Like FIFA would be like, we should change more. I'm talking completely out of my ass. I've never even played a FIFA game. I'm just going by what you said. So if you play FIFA and took offense to that, I know that I've never played it. I don't know. I'm like, it's a soccer game, right? Of course, move mine to G4, and apparently it's not too bad to convert. They might make tools and help too. Now I have to look at that. I compiled 4 from source. I compiled 3.2.4 from source as well, and both of those actually crash when I try to run my game. So apparently there's some changes that I will have to make. Just like loading the game crashes with 4, I think. So it's not looking good for me, but we'll have to see. Though I wish meshes were supported in the batching. Yeah. Have you looked into audio middleware for your game? No, I haven't. I don't play it, but every new game, there's no new gameplay, just better graphics. Gotcha. Well, I mean, even that's a good enough reason, in my opinion. Like, graphics is a big part of enjoying a game. If you get good, if the graphics upgrades are substantial enough, I would say that's good enough for a new release. I mean, it's a soccer game though. Like, how much interesting and unique gameplay can you put in, like, add to it from a new thing? Like campaign modes, I reckon. By better, I mean new grass textures. I mean, even that, grass texture. I like grass. You don't like grass? You can hit target. Now, okay, so this is the entity. It's pursuing the target. We could do a range check here. That's what I'm thinking. Wait, there has to be a range check. Like, surely I don't have to do this again. Like, it would be something like, is target within range? Let's go ahead and make it then, because I'm getting tired of this. Shit. Hold on. What is this? No. I should probably do this but we'll see. Now what am I doing? Target global position. Actually, I did need that. There was a reason for that one. Minus position dot length. Let's go equals. Have you done any unit testing? No, I haven't. If there's going to be audio, I expect him to use ethic for something along that line. Oh, is that what you were asking? I've used a bit of FS. I think it was that one. I've got a couple on my computer, and I always forget which ones that I like using, or even where they're at on my computer. But I like this method. I I don't know anything about sound effects. I would like to have good control over them. It'd be interesting if I could make my own, but a tool would probably be better and quicker, especially with this demo. Like I'm really farther behind than I would like to be for this demo, especially if I want to get all that testing that I want to do done. Oh, right. Okay, so we can do that, and we can say equals. So this will be 1 unit size tile, one tile size away. Same for this one. Okay. If there is target nearby, can attack, can hit target. Then we have the can attack and is attacking. Okay. Now is attacking. How are we going to do this? When we are attacking, I'm going to have the sprite pop up, do an animation. Probably just an attack animation then. Okay. Now I get the attack might look weird. Imagine he's moving upwards, facing downwards, and he attacks. Might look a little weird. We'll have to see. I'm so bad at programming I wouldn't be able to make snake with my own language. Howdy, Justice. Welcome to the stream, bud. So we're gonna have should have an animation player here. Okay. Let's say it's about a 6 animation. I don't have an animation for it, of course. So we're just going to say scale there. Uh, 1.5. We'll do a little bit of squash and stretch. That's way too much. Just a temporary thing. Just to sort of tell us that he's attacking. Wait, no, I did that way wrong. Whoops. Just not at all look like an attack, but it'll do. Unity is equally as good, Laura B. As good as, wait. Because Godot is best. Well, yeah, like it, whatever you like is what's best. Can I use Godot for Android, iOS, and more? Yes. You have more options than C# because you can use code from other C# projects. There you go. Right. Oh, is C# and Godot any good? I've never used C# and Godot. Any key says he had trouble with it. so, so I don't know. Anyhow, so that is our attack animation. Now, if we can go back to our state machine, and in here, Instead of is attacking. Yeah, we'll do it. Because we might have other variables. Oh, right. So I think that's the logic for the transitions. We can test it out. He ain't gonna move or anything, but we can walk up to him and see what happens. If we add in a label. Why need error handling when you don't allow errors? There you go. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I figured. Wish I could do that. No? I figured you'd at least do something. No. Fox starts at 0, 0. Is that true? And it's just the true center of the universe, pretty much. The fox is the answer to everything. Nope, not state machine. Jeez, what's that? What? Jeez. Didn't realize this was live. Yeah. Oh no, he's possessed. What is going on here? Oh. That's an interesting thing. Okay, well, that's weird. Let us print instead. Seems to be ping-ponging state back and forth. Or he's doing all of them. And it's working perfectly. Okay, so idle to shadow, which means I am close enough to being a target. Let's move him further away, at least. Howdy and welcome to Game Endeavor. Everyone asks where the fox is, but no one asks how the fox is. Alright, why are you targeting me? target. What variables is the machine using to select the state? Integers. So let's see. The state machine here. I have a add state method, which when you pass it in a name, like say here, it will then make sure it's not already there, which in case I ever add the same thing. Like for example, I always throw in an idle state, even though the character state, this is just for readability purposes, even though the character state comes with it included. So for readability purposes, I'm like, okay, this is the states that, that this specific one uses. It will go into it. Let's see. It will go into it, see if it has it. If it doesn't, then it will take the size. So when it's nothing in it, it's be zero, whatever. And then it'll set that as the value for that. Is it a dictionary? Yeah, it's a dictionary. So the integer becomes the key. The string becomes, the string becomes the key. The integer becomes the value. What's the completion rate of your game? I imagine you're not talking to me. Yeah, I appreciate. It's a very, very sweet of you, Ivan. But watch the language, bud. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, there's that. Back to this thing. Right. We're checking here. Thank you. Everybody else is wondering what's going on though because YouTube filtered that comment. But me, you, and any keys on it, bud. We know what you said. Oh, jeez. How can I call other objects on code? How can I define other objects so I can use them in specific object code? I don't know what you're asking for. What you're asking, excuse me. So the target, did it return a target? Okay, let's step in here. Send a signal. Am I really that close? Hold on. Let me reduce this. It might be picking up the wrong thing. Nope, still have the target. Okay, what is your target? What is the target? Spirit, you're not supposed to pick yourself. You're not an ideal target. Oh. Oh, good. For some reason, I do not understand this. This blows my mind. In the enemy scene, the faction is the enemy, and it's supposed to default to the enemy. But anytime I make an enemy, it decides, you know what? I'm an ally. No, you're not. And quit doing that. Every time. And it's the worst thing. Okay. Alright, so that's more like it. Now, let's bring this back up. So I have our wonder state, drop into the shadow state where he was just sort of hover around the skull. You get close enough, he drops into the pursue state, which is where he would be following towards you. And once he is close enough, he'll lunge and attack. Now, we're going to add a cooldown, of course. So, we can go ahead and test that out. So if we say... attack. We can say hold on. I could have sworn I had a thing for this already. I guess not. Okay, so we'll have to define it here. Now this will be how long he can go between attacking. This is sort of what keeps things interesting. Instead of him just attacking one after another, say they've, especially with the skeletons, like imagine there's 20 of them, you don't want them all attacking every 2 seconds. So we add a little bit of randomization to it. And we don't want him to attack, move away, and then attack again. So we want this to be a fair amount. I'm thinking, and I could have sworn I had another method for this. Yeah, that's what it is. Well, no, that's what I did for the automated attack. Or whatever. So we'll do our own. We'll say 3 seconds, 4 seconds tops, just for whatever. Hours a week do you spend developing this project? Up until now, I've spent roughly about, I'd say 12 hours a week, 12 to 15. I'm going to put more time into it. I'm going to start developing in the morning on my Discords. We're going to be doing streams every morning. And I plan to put about 4 to 6 hours a day, probably up to 7 days a week, in the morning, and probably another couple hours at night. So that's going to ramp up drastically. So, because I'm putting more emphasis on development now to get this ready for the demo. So devlogs might take a bit of it. I'm trying to work out a schedule to where I can stream in the morning and then write my scripts and stuff in the afternoon. Until I get that the way I want it, the devlogs might be a little iffy. But yeah, get on Discord and keep them accountable, people. Like seriously, every morning I'm gonna wake up. I wake up 7 in the morning, do morning things for an hour, and then from 8 to like 10:30, 11:30 sometimes, I'm gonna stream, and then do my daily stuff, and then we'll come back at night and do like another 2 or 3 hours. So, yeah, and then I'm gonna do that 7 days a week. Yeah. So to answer that, but back to the question. So usually about 12 hours per week. But here it's just gonna ramp up. Okay, might be a little too close. We want it to be a sort of a leap out. We don't want it to be too much, though, because I want it to be a little mysterious. I'm sort of thinking about this from the player's perspective. So, like, the player sees the guy here, and this is when, and then they'll be like, oh, they might approach him slowly. He drops into a shadow form and goes, oh, that's weird. What's going on here? And then, he's sort of floating around. And then they get up to here, and then that's when he starts pursuing them aggressively. And then this is where it jumps out. We might lower this to 2. And then we want there to be some spacing between when he jumps out and hits the player. Sup, welcome to the stream. The 1. Why is there a W and a 0 between that? The 0 new 0. Oh, why should I see that? I don't know. Your name's weird. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, the new shadow. Your name looks like the 1 shadow with a W and a 0 down in there. Okay, so pursue. Why are you waiting so long? Too close. The new shadow. Oh, yeah. That 0 throws it off. You should be. That's weird. Why are you doing that? Let's look back at our logic here. Endeavor, what software do you use for pixel art? I use Sprite. Oh, let's see. Target equals get. So can hit target, right? So lunge can hit target. I'm going to. Is it free right now? I'm using Krita, but I don't like it that much. Yeah, Krita's not that good for pixel art. The official binaries are not. Yeah, the official binaries that they provide are not free, but you can supposedly go down to their GitHub page and compile it yourself if you're able to do that for free. I haven't done that, but the members in my Discord have. So I don't know, like the trouble you'd have to go through for all that. They seem to have had trouble with it, but there are a lot of them, you know, setting up that kind of environment for the first time. Try out Pixelrama. It's a free pixel art software made in Godot. There you go. Why do you not work? Maybe I'm being silly. Let me try this. That lunge was not at the right time. Ah, okay, that's fine. I went and used the default method. I've got a method here called should attack, which tells me different things, like if the attack cooldown has reset and all that fun stuff. However, it takes in this variable, which is really low. All right. So let's look it up here again. So aggressive radius is when he gets mad. Lunge attack radius is when he attacks. Isn't this for? We'll see. Beginner Godot, what do you think? What is the best way to learn Godot? And is it easy to learn? I would say Godot is very easy to learn. It's one of the main perks about it, is that it's so straightforward and easy to learn. For learning, if it depends on where you're at. Like, I would probably recommend something like Kids Can Code is good for learning how to learn like programming stuff for logic and stuff. He does really good. Heartbeats is good. He'll walk you through this stuff. Kids Can Code is good because it's very informationally dense and to the point. Heartbeats is good if you want something a little slower, you know, easier paced or whatever. Kids Code still it's not heavy. It's just you will learn a lot. Like, it's really good. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Yeah, I don't know. If you're doing pixel art, I recommend run this in your browser. There you go. Okay, so yeah, this seems to be working now. Seems a little closer than I would like. It's not so bad. Keep in mind that when we're there, he's in pursuit mode. He'd be wandering around. Then the lunge, and then the attack. That's a little too close for comfort. I think we might raise. Well, we'll see. We'll see once we get the actual movement going. But the actual logic itself seems to be there. Let's stay in the area and see what happens. Yeah, that's a very long time though, but we'll figure that out. Very hard to use as scratch. You can't say you've ever made a good looking jump for a platformer now. I've never used it, so I wouldn't know. All right, so we have that's the actual logic. Now we need to implement the logic for the actual states itself rather than just the transitions. So we can go back. I'm gonna grab this now since we don't need to look at the transitions. Just grab this list of these states here for reference. All right. So the wander state we have implemented. It's probably, we're not going to do much different than here, at least for right now, which is broken, by the way. The wander state's not the way I want it to be here, as a heads up. Where's my wander stuff? Oh, and also the logic is not, is it? We need to, I'm gonna move that. This is the interstate, okay. So I'm gonna go into the AI here. My add. So that gets played automatically for anybody that enters a wander state. He's already in shadow. Interesting. Yeah, that might be too far. Too much range on that. Bring that down. How did you learn to use Godot? Kidskin code. So I had been programming for about 10 years before I picked up Godot. And so I had, I even made my own engine in Java at one time. I had experience with C++ and C# and a bit of C as well, and various other little languages here. So I didn't have any issues learning. I just had to learn the syntax, because once you know enough programming, it's just syntax. But what I did was I found Kidskin Code and I put on just like all his videos. I pretty much binged through them and learned everything I know pretty much. Now, why aren't you moving? Or do we have wander states here? No. There's a wander process. Movement. I'm going to. Why don't you just make separate entity to which you could refer? Or am I missing something? Separate entity. Not sure what you mean. Like separate what? They are separate. You have skeleton logic and ghost logic. Actually, whoops. Now, if you mean like basic behaviors, is what I'm doing. I'm moving code around so that it's universal to, I could just call on it. Doing it with a wander method right now, but with the new system that I have, it's not implemented for some reason. So I'm looking at that right quick. Shouldn't take long to see why this guy, he should be wandering around when I load this. And I'm not sure why he's not, because this method isn't getting called for whatever reason. He's in the wander state. I might have named it wrong. It's a good possibility, actually. Let me look at what I named it. No. It's method name wander process as method. Oh, that's why. Okay. I need to, I should probably put that. Well, no, I'll do it later. This is not, the checking for the target is not the default behavior, and that's why I made this and then screwed that up. And this needs to be down here. There's already that wander process method here, which it was overriding. So we just want to call back down on it. Which is one of the things I don't like about this system, is how easy it is for me to forget that kind of thing. It's not the first time this has happened, but so it can be a little irritating. Do your best love of your videos. Thank you. Glad to see you two are game deving right now. Yep, been doing lots of game deving. Best part of my day. Why did I stop? Oh. There he is. Okay. All right. So, pursue. Wait. Yeah. We got to change that. Lower this down. So that was the shadow form. We're going to lower that down a little more too as well. And then the aggressive radius. Let's say 4. We'll see how that looks. I just watched one of your first videos about this RPG. And then the most recent, nice to see the progression. Nice. Sorry for not being a super fan who's seen it all. Hey, ain't nothing to be wrong. Sorry, apologize for that for. It's not a problem at all, bud. So shadow, pursue. All right. Whew. Where can I study online Godot engine? YouTube's a good place for it. Like I said, Kids Can Code. It's got plenty of great tutorials. You should really watch them all. They're really good. Well, thank you. That's very, very kind of you. All right, so wander process. Okay. So now we go into the shadow form. Shadow form is what I want to do first. We're going to skip the pursue right now. Wait. No, shadow form is, yeah, enter shadow form is what I want to do right now. This is going to be, right? Confusing names. Shadow form is when you just first get to them. So wandering, shadow, and then pursue. Okay, making sure. Really love your game. It seems like fun. Well, thank you. I like how you put your level editor in the game itself. It's been a big boon. Like I can quickly make levels and stuff. Like that level I made for the last devlog took me like 15 minutes. You know, I was just click, and then I pretty much click generate level, and then there it goes. I mean, it's very easy to make that level. Whereas before, it took the very first level that I made for the first devlog, the one that I do a lot of stuff in. There's a reason why I keep using that level, and it's because it took me like 2 or 3 hours to make that level. And I don't know. Now, this is missing a lot of features, of course. But we're working. I'm getting there. Well, we added one recently to where I could do this right here. I could draw a little transition. Be like, go to the overworld. I'm going to have it here to where I can drop down a list of the different spawn points in that overworld. And then you're going to run to the right. And then I can run in the game and boop. And that'll take me back. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And I'm going to be using that for entering in the dungeons and stuff. And then I can just delete. Now for some reason, yeah. There's a duplicate going on there for some reason. I have to look into that. Did you study cooling? Oh, I bet I know why that is actually. Did you study code in school? Or did you self-learn? I self-learned for like 5 or 6 years. And then I went to school. But I didn't really learn anything. I had already learned pretty much all I wanted there. The whole point of going out was just to get a degree. So, but yeah, I was self-taught. Oh, what were we doing? All right. Shadowed form. This will be fun. So, function shadow interstate. All right, so with this, this will be where he's wandering around, he spots you. He doesn't attack you, he doesn't get aggressive yet, but he gets defensive. He drops his skull. And then starts floating around his body. Well, not his body, but his skull. Okay. So alright, just wanted to know if I can self-learn to become this advanced. Yeah. How long have you been working on this game? I've been working on this game since late June? July? Whichever one comes up second. I'm pretty sure it's July comes second. Late July. Start of August. I say that you can actually find out because I streamed the very first day. I was like, I'm going to make a game and I'm going to stream it. So like the very first, like I'm pretty sure we even created the project on stream. But yeah, if you go there, at the bottom of the page is always a record of the streams. And it was prototyping an RPG combat system. July 2nd. Yeah. Thought it was later than July. I guess it was early July. Let's see. Been nearly half a year. Time goes by when you're developing. It feels shorter than that. All right. So shadow interstate, we're going to drop his head. We're going to make a function for that. No. Now what this is going to do is we're going to say var t equals, we're going to get the head. I want this. Thank you for context. I just discovered you. I'm going to see all your videos. Well, thank you for watching them. I hope you enjoy. Okay. That be, because we're going to move this down to 0. Probably with a tween. Yeah. That begs the question. The reason this is funny, we could use an animation player, and I kind of want to do to see what happens. But this is going to be weird, because as you can imagine, the head is attached to the body. Like, if we move around, then the head's going to follow. So if we just drop the head, it's not going to work. But there's a method called set top level, which will allow you to have it ignore movement from this character. The funny part that I'm not worried about, but interested about, is how that would affect an animation player that changes its position. There's a couple ways we could get around that. For one, we could parent the head onto an. But this is if it don't work. I like to do a little bit of hypothesizing when I do my code and stuff. If the animation player doesn't work this way that I'm expecting it to, that I'm about to try here in a second, and because of the position being off, one thing we could do would be to make a node 2D parent, set it to top level, and then animate the head that way. That would be an alternative. We'll see. Hey, just tuned in. Well, thanks for joining us, Abby. So we're going to try that first. We're even going to add a animation player here. And so for here we will say the position, zero this out. Oops, not 0.3. Howdy, Oliveria. That was a terrible attempt. Yeah, that'll be fine for now. That's just temporary. We'll probably do some kind of animation as well later on. So drop, we're gonna call that. Okay. So drop head, we will say var t equals. We need to get the current global transform of the head. I thought I stored that. No, what is this? Jeez. I don't know what that was going on there. Because head dot global position. Oh, actually, no, global transform. Then head dot set top level true. And head dot global transform equals t. And so the reason what we're doing here is we're getting the transform before we set the top level. If I'm not mistaken, when you set the top level, it throws the position off. And so this is just to set it back to where it was before we did that. Carrots are nice, indeed they are. Not raw carrots though. And then we will say, we're just going to do this off the cuff here. Dot play drop. Oh, we're not going to play it yet. We're going to get this guy moving around first. Just to see if this works. So we have a shadow enter state. We're going to do a function shadow process. And this will be what we move the shadow with, or move him in shadow form. And first time seeing you with a face scan, expected the platformer burr. Well, he's right there. He's right there. Let's see, shadow process. This is going to be. We have to determine how we move here, which we're going to get into a second. Right now, we're probably just going to use. We just want to move this guy out of the way. So in fact, we're just going to say move and slide. Vector 2 dot right times 128. Just to get him out of the way so we can see that the head is disembodied. Oh no, where'd the head go? There it goes. Weird. I thought I did. Global transform. Or maybe I need to, excuse that. No? Maybe what if I don't do that? That usually works. I don't know why it's not. I'm pretty sure that usually works. And I'm really confused as to why it didn't this time. Does it need to be reset on the next frame? Not that I'm aware of. Now you just... Oh, right. This is why I said we're not going to be playing that. It's exactly why I said that. Jeez. I meant to type it out and then not use it, but... That was the... Yeah, okay. Now, just to check for y'all to see if y'all need, if this is a requirement. Because I think it is, but I could be wrong. Yeah. Okay. So that's what that does. Alright, so this didn't work as I expected. So, the options here would be to use a tween instead. Or we could just add in a node to the... and have this between the head, like the sprite, but the head doesn't change. You made it back. Well, welcome back, bud. Okay. All right. Oh. Now, for the movement itself, which is going to be the fun part. Let's think. This is the shadow movement. This is, he spots you. He's wanting to roam around, but not directly towards us. Now, we could just use the wonder logic here. Godot seems cool to use. I'll try it next time at Game Dynamic. I think you'll like it. It's a pretty cool engine. I enjoy it. I enjoy the simplicity, but the power. Like I can get prototypes up going really, really quickly. But then I've got, at the same time, it'll let you do some really nice things. Godot's my main engine because my computer's trash. That's also another good reason. It runs really good. Okay, so let's think. Actually, let's see, there's a shadow form, but I think I want to have another state. Just for dropping his head. So that he can, well, I'll tell you what, we'll combine it into one for now. So we'll say, if, let's go ahead and store this as well. U4 is a pasty killer? I wouldn't know. How to find tile map? How can I detect if a player to touch that tile map? That depends on what you mean exactly by that. This isn't really a stream for me to help you learn Godot, though. This is for me to get some work done. Sorry. Tile maps are funny with collisions, though. They're very tricky. If indeed. So shadow progress. If head animation dot is playing, that means we're dropping the head. Then we want to apply a stop velocity. Else we want to sort of wander around. I'm going to try and steal off of this wander process. I'm thinking we can take it and just repurpose it. And get rid of this. We will tweak it more because we're going to want different things like different move speeds and probably different turn. We want them to be a little more aggressive. Like we definitely want them to run faster. Did you change him to Shadow because of me? No, I haven't changed him at all. If you're moving isn't well, there you go. Do you do game dev of YouTube full time? I do, yes. Not just this, but other things. Okay, that animation feels a little fast. Okay, we'll add weight to it later, like a little easings and stuff. It's very linear. Maybe we could do that now, I reckon. What would be a good one? Let's try easing into it. Wait, easing out. Easing out will probably feel more aggressive, I would think, but with a natural stop to it. Yeah, we can probably even speed it up now. Plus, we could use that drop to tweak its movement. So have it like get a little pulse going. Okay. All right. Now let me look at this. I could have generate wander point. Alright, so here's what we're using for updating our wander point. It's not great. It's a very hacky solution that I'm going to change later, but we're going to steal it now. And I think I'm about to move that little preface thing ahead of here. Maybe? Maybe no. Maybe make an update thing. So, wander timer determines how quick they change their wander state, which we might want to pass in, I don't know. Want to tweak these variables somehow. There's a lot of coding here that it's variable bound that I'm not too happy with. I'll probably change that later. Probably pass in variables or whatever. Especially now that I'm using this new method where I can go into do the state logic here. It's a lot easier to use variables and stuff here. Then it does a number of tenths because this could fail. Probably not the most efficient way, but it works. And then it gets a random point within a random radius, rotated randomly, and gets a vector 2 at that point. And then yeah, this gets how far it wants to wander out, and then it does it from a spawn position. I want to pass in that variable because I don't want it to be the spawn position. I want it to be its skull position. Then it checks to see. Let's see. We can probably make this a little better probably. Check to see that it's far enough away and that the path is not blocked. Like there's no collision in the way or something. Seems like a terrible way to do all that, but like I said, it's something I did really, really quickly. But what do we want? We want to know. Let me look at the other one. I'm going to bring it up here. This. And then let's go back to there. What was that method in? Under process. Okay. This will probably be a private variable actually. Alright, so this is what we're going to call anytime we want to create a new point. And we're going to return a value from here. Instead of setting it, we're going to return it. Maybe. The whole point of this is that it does a timer thing. Yeah, okay. We're not going to do a variable. We do want to be able to set some things, though. This later on, we don't need to do it right now. This is how far it goes in. How far you can wander around. So we want that variable. We want the origin. I think that might be all we need. Okay. So update wander point. We're going to default these. And then the okay, so that way I can tell it to do the skull and how far up to wander. And we'll go ahead and do these times as well. Okay, now what did I pass in the radius? Okay, so we need the radius and duration. Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. We go back here. We should say in the shadow. origin, radius, duration. Okay. Now for the other ones, we don't need to fiddle around right now. We just want to do exact global position. There we go. Now we take a quick look at the wander, like the movement logic for it. If we need to, we just have a wander velocity. Okay. Apply movement actually moves the thing. The rest of it we don't need right now. Let's see what that looks like. Howdy, howdy, SD sisters. None of that. You will be removed. Bye. Okay. Howdy, howdy, Snug Pig. All right. Now, update wander velocity. It's another one we have to tweak, I think. Then what this does is it moves it towards the find it right quick. We just need to add in a speed here so we can customize this ourselves. Okay, yeah. So we want him to speed up when we do this. What is, let's say like, because we want him to come off as aggressive. Okay. Now that's the thing is we have to worry about is him getting close to the player on his own. We can shorten this a bit, I reckon. I don't know what that'll do. It might be a little too fast. Yeah, he's still too close. That distance is pretty far, though. Further than I expected it would be. I'm going to reduce this speed a bit. He's still wandering really far. Logic's probably not being implemented correctly. Or I need to update another one. That's probably what it is. I need to force an update, which I can do by setting it to null, because it should do it automatically. Let's do that. So whenever we enter the shadow state, we say wander point equals null. Ah, you're still too close. Aggressive, we can reduce that, I reckon. Like a 3. The idea being here that we don't, like, we want the player to, like, we can see him. He's like, well, that's weird. And then we drop it. And then, like, he just sort of floats around. You still seem really far away. Why are you so far away? Oh, wait, you're at your spawn point. I thought I said. That's why. Okay. Duck global position. I bet I didn't change that. Silly. Okay. Also, I need to pass that in as well. As well. Okay. No, wait. Yeah. That's not going to work perfectly because I'll explain in a second. No, that's why. The reason this probably won't work perfectly is imagine like he wanders up and then sets his spawn position. Well, no, it might work. It might work. Yeah. Cause yeah, we're good. I was gonna say like it might not work because here we're setting the spawn position, or we're doing the origin at our spawn position, which is where he spawns in at. This is to keep him constrained to that area, and then here we're doing the origin at the global position and saying if you've wandered off too far, then generate a new one. This is terrible. But the head will be our global position, so the origin should match up. Well, not to they will be the same, but like we're passing in the head position here and then the global position. But there should be in the same thing, so it should be fine. I was just a little concerned about it, like if you moved out of range, but it's not taking the spawn position. I don't know why I thought that. Why are you doing? Oh, wait, your reset's messed up. No, wait. This needs to be origin. It needs to be global position. Well, you may not even need. Yeah, this isn't needed. Okay. Ugh. It's still not. He doesn't seem to be moving around his head still though. I'm going to let him walk around for a bit. I wanted to get away from his spawn position. That seems fine. We'll keep unfortunate. I'm gonna get good and far away from it. See what he does. Yeah. I don't know why. Let's see. So the spirit, whenever we that's the origin that we should be creating it around. We're getting rid of this somewhere. Hold on. That's what it was. Okay. There we go. Jeez. Wait. Yeah. Okay. That should do it. How long are you streaming? I'm about to end it. I didn't get as much done as I wanted to. Oh, it's a whole other state machine, but I didn't get as done, nearly as much done as I wanted to. But I usually don't stream more than. Why do you do this? But yeah, I've streamed longer than I usually do. Now, like I said, I'm gonna go probably later on tonight. I'll pop back into my Discord and do some more streaming and fix this up. I don't know. I'll rubber duck it right quick, and then after that, I'm probably going to call it. Okay, so spirit, when you enter the shadow state, you set your wonder point to know that should allow us to recreate a new one here. Wait. That's actually probably why. I wasn't expecting to find it so quick, but. Let me close this. Okay, so what this is going to say is if there's not a point, then we should stop the timer, or this is just a null check to make sure there's nothing wrong with it. And then the, and if we're close enough to it, we'll see. You probably just need to break and refresh eyes, yes. I think this will do it though. Doesn't, yeah, I gotta fix that. It's interesting that that's that though. I'll have to take a look at that. I bet I know why maybe. No, I shouldn't do it. I don't know. Whoops. Okay. Yeah, I've been coding for quite a while. It's usually good to take a break every now and again. Otherwise, you start making little dumb things. And usually I'll take a break every 2 hours. Looking good, bro. Well, thank you. I mean, it's not, but thank you. So let's see. They want a point. Up origin is we're passing on. Thanks for all your toil. Well, thanks for watching them. So shadow, we enter the state, set it to null. Then we drop the head. Does the animation. Shadow process. Stops if the animation is playing. If not, then we update the wander position from the head's global position. The wander position would be the origin. And then the radius. Duration is not as important. And from the origin, if there is no wander point, or there is one in the links. And that's just to check to see if we're close enough to it, if I remember correctly. Because if we're close enough to it, we can just stop it. If it's stopped, Then we need to create a new one. We need to pass in the... That sounds about why I was probably doing it. Yes, that's it right there. Okay. Okay. So one timer, we'll start the timer so that we can reset it later. We'll get us a rand value. This is for... We should rename that. It's a random distance in a circle, and that's the offset. I'm going to call that offset. Okay, so that's how far out we move with that wander point, plus the origin point, which is we passed in. It would be the spawn position for you, but for you it'll be the head position. So head position plus the offset. Displacement is the wander point minus global position. And this is it's a really bad way to ensure that for different checks. Say wander point, global position. Okay. That hopefully has it. Okay. Now it's just an issue of probably the fact that we're generating it on top of himself, or our radius is too slow, or too low. Excuse me. Yeah. Okay. So let's try a bigger area. I have a plan, but I'm sort of also winging a few things. Plans are good if you want to, like especially with a big project like this one. I have broad strokes laid out, but as I'm developing, I'm just sort of deciding whether or not I want certain things. So flexible, but with a plan. I don't recommend going into development like just doing things randomly. You end up with like an incohesive mess. Uh, like it's not well structured and just sort of meh. You know, structure gives it that like the goal to push towards. But I like the flexibility of being like, oh, turns out I didn't like that or whatever. But I think I'm going to call it here. And appreciate y'all for popping by the stream. I'm going to pop out for a few hours. MDS. I'm going to pop out for a few hours. And then probably I'd say about, I don't know, 5-6 hours or so. I'll pop back into my Discord and stream, try to fix this thing. Well, either that or work on something else. I'm not sure. We'll see. Thanks for the answers. Well, thanks for asking them. I hope it helped. If you're asking for yourself, certainly make a plan. At least some kind of guideline. Y'all take it easy. Thanks for popping by.